All right, hi, I'm Joey O. I'm going to be showing you how to set up an RTK Rover today, how to actually set up the hardware and then set up the software and how to start measuring points in RTK and actually navigating with this piece of gear. So let's get into it. This Rover, it's virtually the same process as setting up a base station, except for it's on a bipod, and this has a fixed height. Okay, and this is what we're going to actually be walking around with, marking points. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to apply the quick releases to the actual range pole. So the first one we have is the antenna quick release. So this is two pieces. One piece actually goes on like here, goes on the top. The other piece is going to thread into the bottom of the antenna. So what this allows for is the quick detach and attach of the GPS antenna. All right, so that's going to just stay on there like so. Then I have my two other quick releases here. One is going to be for the TSE3, one's for the M7. Doesn't really matter which one. Just make sure that these buttons are facing upwards so that they actually thread into there correctly. So this one, I'll put a little lower on the pole, button facing up. That's where the M7 will go. Then this one, I'm going to put actually up here, above this bipod, so that I can fold in these legs while I'm walking around. There we go. Tight, you don't want to over tighten these, it'll cause you problems. And then what I'll do is I'll attach the M7. I'm going to undo all these ports, take all the protective coverings off so I have ease of access. Make sure you have batteries in both of these. And it slips on like that, it shouldn't go anywhere. And then I'll take the TSE3, verify there's a good battery inside of it. I'll have the mount on the back of it, the actual C mount. And as you look at the screen, the nipple should be coming off to your left. Okay, so that'll actually port in here correctly. So, goes in like so, and I can pull on it, it's not going anywhere. So now that I have everything actually attached, I'll connect the wires. So I have the antenna to M7. Both sides of this are the same threading. They'll actually both work, it'll work in either direction, except for one is straight and one has a 90-degree angle. So the 90-degree angle should be the one that you actually use on the antenna. I'll thread right on. You want to get it snug, but again, you don't want to strip it out. So snug, and the same thing down here. The one that says GPS on the M7 will thread right in. Good. Now I'll take the TSE3 to M7 cable. So this has two sides. This side goes into the bottom of the TSE3. It has these little locking screws. A lot of times they don't work, which is fine, as long as it stays in place. Okay, we should probably order a new one if that is the case. And then on the other end, this is the part that actually goes into the M7. You'll see a red dot here and a red line on the M7. So we're looking at the controller handheld. That's where the TSE3 plugs into. Controller handheld, line up the red dot, the red line. That clicks into place. I should be able to pull on this and it doesn't go anywhere. All right. And the last thing is going to be my actual radio cable. So I'll close the case. This end actually connects to your radio. And this end is going to go into the M7. Just like everything else, it has a red dot. There's a red line on each one of these ports. So radio external power, that's going to be the one that says radio. Red dot to the red line, snaps into place. I can pull on it, it's not going anywhere. And then this one simply goes into the side of the radio. Fairly snug. I would then turn on my radio, and while you're walking around, you can hang right on the side. One of these quick releases.
So this is the point that we'll actually be marking using RTK. So first you get it nice and plumb, the range pole, right on that fine point of aim. Then you're going to open up the bipod legs and depress the buttons on the bipod legs. And while pressing those buttons, you're going to step on the boots of each bipod leg. So you make sure it's nice and firm in the ground. And then you're going to completely erect the range pole. Just slide it up until you see the white stopper up here. And just past the white stopper are the plastic nipples. And that means it's at exactly 2 meters tall. So now, pressing the buttons on the bipod legs, you're going to be looking at the circular level to get it as level as possible before you measure.
Alright, so now that everything's on, connected, set up, we're plumb and level over a point that we're trying to mark or establish, or maybe we're verifying a survey control point. We're there. We're ready to press measure at this point. So we're going to go into general survey. We're going to wait for it to connect over here in the top right. It may take a moment. So after a moment of waiting, this screen appears. Not keyed, load keys are switched to SPS mode. So we see over here on the right, we are in PPS. So we have 2 options. We can load keys or switch to SPS. We're not going to load keys, especially not here. We're going to go to SPS mode then. So down at the bottom, SPS. Switch receiver to SPS, yes. Alright, it's going to take a moment. It's going to talk to the satellite, or the antenna. And there we go. Now it's in SPS mode. It might take a few minutes even sometimes. We can see over here on the right, we're now tracking satellites, and we have our battery percentages at the top. So we'll press escape. And we see no current jobs. So we need to open up a job. That's going to be our save file for this survey that we're doing. So we'll go jobs, new job. And we're going to name it the date RTK, something along those lines. And then the template is going to be the template that we built earlier. So Fort Sill. Perfect. We'll press accept. And we see over here on the right, satellites are being tracked. Our radio is talking. And we have a job open. So if I want to look at the points that are already stored in here, just to verify, I can go jobs, point manager, and there's nothing. There's been nothing surveyed or saved in this file yet. So I'll press escape, and I'm going to go measure. And I do not want to start the base receiver because I already have one started. This is going to be a rover, so I'm just going to go to measure points. And what it's doing now, it's actually talking to the base. It's receiving the base's positional info, right? So we're talking. I'm going to mark the point that our RTK rover is over right now. We'll call it OS1, something creative like that. It's going to be a topo point. Our antenna is set to 2.1 meters tall, and it's to the bottom of the antenna mount. All right, so we verify the instrument is level still. The antenna is all the way up, and we're going to press enter and measure. We'll see it count down. 3, 2, 1. There it is. And so we have manually store on. So we have to actually press store. If you had automatically store, as soon as it gets the precisions in, it stores the point. So we'll press store. And there it is. It said down at the bottom, observation stored. If you had the volume on, it'll actually say it to you. And you notice the point name automatically shifted that last numeral 1 up. So if I press escape, I can go into jobs, point manager. So this was just empty a couple moments ago, but now we see here's the point that we actually measured. Then here's PE1. This is the actual information for the base station. So it actually sent it through the radio to our rover. So that would go in your header information on the NavMac. So that's how you measure points. If, let's say, you need an azimuth between 2 points that you have in your job, what you can do, so what I can do is go COGO, compute azimuth, between 2 points, I'll hit the drop downs, list, I'll go from OS1 where we are to PE1. And there we go. It gives us a grid azimuth to the point. So this also has its own means of taking you places, right? So, or navigating, that's what I mean to say. So if I escape out of there and I want to navigate somewhere using the GPS signal, I can go instrument, navigate to point, go to my drop down into the list, and let's say I would need to find my way to PE1, the new school way, right? I can navigate to the point, set my antenna height, bottom antenna mount, and start. And what this will actually do is literally point me to the point that I am actually trying to navigate to. So it tells me in reference to north what way I have to go, and this tells me how far away I am. So I'm literally like 7 meters away from the base right now. And that's it.
So then all that's left, if you have more points to mark, you could go around and do that same way you just did. Then you'd properly record it onto your NavMac or your recording forms. And if applicable, depending on what you're doing, you could upload it into Trimble Business Center and do some post-processing if you need some adjustments or verification. So if you feel like you got better ways to do certain things, if you have any questions, concerns, please let me know. Reach out to me any way you can, Facebook or YouTube. Again, this is Joseph Yo. Have a good one.